Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's The 99 Beautiful Names of God. Al-Maqsad al-Asna fi Sharh Asma'illah al-Husna, translated by David Borel and Aziz Dahir. We have reached number 40, Al-Muqit, the Nourisher. This is page 109. Imam Al-Ghazali said, Al-Muqit, translated here as the Nourisher, means the creator of nutritions, and the one who delivers them to bodies as food, and to hearts as knowledge. Hence, from the same root, we have Qut al-Qulub by Abu Talib al-Makki. Imam Ghazali quotes often from Qut al-Qulub, especially in Ihya Ulum al-Din, one of the major books. But the idea is that we talk about, when we say in English, food for the heart, that's really Qut al-Qulub. It's a metaphorical food, a nourishment for the heart. So here we have nourishment for the bodies and nourishment for the hearts, and to hearts as knowledge. It means the same as provider, Ar-Razzaq. Yet this name is more specific, since provision, rizq, includes what is other than food, as well as food, where food is what suffices to sustain the body. Or it may mean the one who takes things over, the all-powerful, the omnipotent. For taking over is achieved by power and knowledge. The saying of him, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, great and glorious, indicates this. And God is the nourisher of all things, that is cognizant and powerful, so that its meaning resolves to power and knowledge. We have already considered knowledge, and we shall consider power. Yet concerning this meaning, describing it as the nourisher is more accurate than describing it as the powerful alone, or the knower alone, for it signifies a combination of both, and so cannot be considered synonymous. So, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُقِيتًا, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the nourisher, is the sustainer, is the provider for everything. In fact, in the Quran, كُلًّا نُمِدُّ هَؤُلَاءِ وَهَؤُلَاءِ مِنْ عَطَاءِ رَبِّكَ. We provide for those and those, the believers and the non-believers. And this imdad, كُلًّا نُمِدُّ مِنْ عَطَاءِ رَبِّكَ, this imdad, this ata, could basically be the provisions that are used to sustain the heart, the body, but also things that would touch the heart. And also, just simply, if you look about everything about the human being, that's really ultimately in the arrangement and the plan of God. But also the intelligence. Many times in my lectures I have mentioned that even the IQ and the guidance so the IQ of People like Einstein. This is not something that you achieve. We don't talk about studying. We talk about your IQ. This is given. It's a gift from God. كلا نمد هؤلاء وهؤلاء من عطاء ربك وما كان عطاء ربك محظورا. Al-Hasib, the reckoner, is the one who suffices for his all one needs who belongs to him. Hence we say Hasbi Allah or Hasbun Allah wa ni'mal wakil. He suffices us. God, may be praised and exalted, is the measurer of every single thing and the one who suffices for it. As is inconceivable that this attribute in its essential reality be said of anything else. Since for anything to be sufficient, it must itself be all that it needs for its existence, the permanence of its existence, and the perfection of its existence. And there is nothing in existence which by itself suffices for anything except God, great and glorious. For He alone suffices for everything, not for some things only, everything. He alone suffices, that is, in that things attain existence from Him, and their existence produced and is made perfect by Him. For example, creating the human being in the best fashion, Ahsan Taqweem. Do not imagine that when you need food, drink, earth, sky, sun, or the like, that you need something other than Him. He availed everything in the universe for us. You might say, but things in the universe are at a distance. Yes. Think about the map of the universe. You might say map of the sky, whereby you see all these stars, and a specific every month of the year there is a specific map that we could see in the sky. So much so that when these eruptions on the surface of the sun, and there is a big eruption coming, really, that creates magnetic fields, and it could be the case that they will affect the GPS telecommunication. And the pilot was asked about how do you find your way if everything is disrupted out of a sudden. He said, to go back to the origin of reading the map of the sky. He will find his way by reading the position of the stars, pretty much like the Muslim sailors who knew their way, or basically even the Bedouins in the desert who traveled at night. They knew the direction. These stars have absolutely no impact on your fortune, but you could read them and find the direction, etc. He is the one who supplies all of all you need by creating food and drink, heaven and earth. So He is all you need. Nor should you think that God is not the one who protects and suffices in the case of an infant who needs his mother to nurse him and care for him. Indeed, God, great and glorious, suffices for him, since He created his mother and the milk, meaning, and He created the milk in her breast, as well as the guidance needed for him to swallow it. We talk about the guidance, really, it's an instinct, innate. You cannot teach a baby how to suckle. It is a natural disposition, it's innate, it's instinct. He also created the tenderness and love in the heart of the mother, so that she will enable him to devour her milk, calling him to it and prompting him to do so. Now, sufficiency is only attained by these means, and God the Most High alone possesses the ability to create it for the infant. Should it be said to you that the mother alone is sufficient for that infant, and that she is all he needs, you would believe that and not say, but she is hardly sufficient for him, since he needs milk, and how can a mother suffice for him when there is no milk? Rather, you would say, indeed, he needs milk, but milk also comes from the mother, so he needs no one else except his mother, the mother. But you should know that milk does not come from the mother, but together with the mother comes from God. This is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it. This is the nature of mothers who gave birth, or who once they give birth, lactating. This is really what happens, a natural thing that happens in the some of the changes in the physiognomy, in the changes in the hormonal changes, and subhanallah, this is something that all in the plan, all in the divine plan for mothers and babies. So this is really the gift from God. This is His graciousness and generosity. For He alone is all that each thing needs, nothing except He exists, which alone suffices for everything, at all. Rather, things depend on each other, while everything depends on the power of God. May He be praised and exalted. This it reminds us of Imam Ghazali's statement about the true Tawheed, that is seeing everything from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Counsel: there is no access to this attribute for men except by way of a remote metaphor, to be the Hasib. A remote metaphor, or as part of a prevalent popular opinion which does not think twice about it. Metaphorically, it is like this: even if one were sufficient for his infant in sustaining his care, or sufficient for his student in educating him to the point where he is no longer in need of assistance from someone else, he would be but a means to sufficiency, and not himself sufficient. For it is God, may He be praised and exalted, who suffices, and since man neither subsists by his own power, nor is sufficient unto himself, how can he suffice for another? As part of a prevalent opinion, it is like this: even if one be deemed to be sufficient in himself and not as a means, nevertheless he is not alone sufficient, since he needs a place to receive his action and his sufficiency. Moreover, this is the least of the things at issue, for the heart, which is the locus of knowledge, is clearly necessary in the first place, so that he may be sufficient in giving instruction. And the stomach, which is the receptacle for food, is needed to enable him to be sufficient. In conveying food to his body. All this, along with many other things, one needs are beyond one's reckoning, nor do any of them fall under his free choice. For the lowest rank of action requires an agent and a recipient, and the agent will not suffice at all without a recipient. This is why Imam Ghazali, in a different context, to give zakah, you need someone to take someone poor to take the zakah, for example, the almsgiving, the regular almsgiving. And this is why Imam Ghazali says that the poor person who takes your zakah is practically making you a favor. We think usually the other way around. But that's an amazing concept. Because without the recipient, there is no zakah. This is only fulfilled in God, great and glorious, since He creates the action as well as creating the place to receive it, the conditions pertaining to its reception, and whatever surrounds it. Nevertheless, it can be that one would turn spontaneously and unreflectively to the agent, without considering the situation surrounding it, and deem the agent alone to be sufficient to the task. But such is not the case. Indeed, the religious fruit from this for a man is that God alone suffices for him, in connection with his intention and his will, so that he wants only God, great and glorious. He should not want paradise, nor should his heart be preoccupied with hell, trying to be on guard against it. But his intention will be absorbed by God alone, the Most High. And if God reveals himself in his majesty, he should say, "This is sufficient for me. For I do not want anything other than him, nor do I care whether something other than him escapes me or not." Even at moments of weakness, in the face of tribulation, in the face of a genocide, and as is the case right now, when one feels at a loss, hopeless on one level, very hopeful on another. Hopeless when you talk about humanity that lost a track of what is decent, a humanity that fails to recognize the humanity of all people, ultimately resort to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Al-Jalil, the majestic, is the one qualified by the attributes of majesty. Now, the attributes of majesty are might, dominion, sanctification, knowledge, wealth, power, and other attributes we have mentioned. And the one who combines all of them is the absolute majestic. While the majesty of one qualified by some of these attributes is proportional to what he receives of those particular attributes. So the absolutely majestic is none other than God. And he does use al-mutlaq, absolute, great and glorious. And as the great refers to the perfection of essence, and the majestic to perfection of attributes, so does the tremendous refers to perfection of essence and attributes together, as perceived by intellectual insight, provided it encompasses the intellectual perception rather than being encompassed by it. Moreover, when the attributes of majesty are related to the intellectual perception apprehending them, they are called beauty. And the one qualified by them is called beautiful. The term beautiful was posited initially for the external form apprehended by sight, to the extent that it was adapted to sight and suited it, and later transferred to the interior form, which is apprehended by insight, so that one could say good and beautiful comportment, or beautiful disposition. We might say a beautiful soul, for example, and you absolutely cannot see the soul. There are no apparent characteristics. A beautiful character. Like when we say, Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal, verily, God is beautiful and He loves beauty. And that is perceived by insight rather by sight. When an interior form is perfect, properly proportioned, and combines all of the perfection appropriate to it, as befits it, and in the proper manner, when it is beautiful in relation to the interior insight apprehending it, and adapted to it in a way that whoever beholds it will experience for more pleasure, joy, and excitement than the observer who views the beautiful form with external sight only. For the absolute and truly beautiful one is God alone. Yes. May He be praised and exalted, since all the beauty, perfection, splendor, and attractiveness in the world comes from the light of His essence, of the divine essence, and the traces of His attributes. There is no existing thing in the world except Him, meaning there's no really existence in the sense of everything is temporal, everything is lacks perfection. If it is from one perspective, enjoys the perfection of being created as such, but it does carry the seed of its demise, if you will. For that reason, the one who knows him or contemplates his beauty experiences such delight, happiness, pleasure, and joy that disdains the delight of paradise, as well as the beauty of sensible forms. Indeed, there is no comparison between the beauty of external forms and the beauty of interior meaning, apprehended by intellectual perception. When you stand before the mirror and you praise God for the beauty of form and you ask Him for the beauty of the heart. Saying, Allahumma kama hasanta khalqi. Oh Lord, inasmuch as you have beautified my creation, فحسن خلقي, do beautify my character, the inner dimension, if you will. We have removed the veil from this meaning in the book of love, desire, intimacy, and acceptance. This is book 36 of the revival of the religious sciences of Ihya Ulumuddin, كتاب المحبة والشوق والأنس والرضا. Once it is established that He is beautiful and majestic, subhanahu wa ta'ala, then every beautiful thing will be loved and desired by whomsoever perceives its beauty. For that reason is God, great and glorious, loved by those who know Him, as external beautiful forms are loved by those who see, not by those who are blind. Counsel: the majestic and beautiful among men is the one whose interior attributes are attractive, so as to give pleasure to discerning hearts. Exterior beauty is of lesser worth. The exterior beauty is given. Exterior beauty is a gift from God, and it's relative, and one can say that the criterion for beauty changed, let's say, from the pre-Arabic, pre-Islamic, really, period, maybe even early Islam, until today. So there were the criterion for beauty was one thing at the time, and it did change. But the affairs of the heart, the internal beauty, when he said that the external is of a lesser importance, it's true, but still is it's important. The Prophet ﷺ said to those who would like to get engaged, انظر إليها فإنه أحرى يريد أن يؤذن بينكما. Look at her, just, don't stare, but just look so that you'd see something beautiful that would create chemistry between both of you later on. And the beauty in the universe points to the creator of this beauty. Suffice it, inshallah, and we'll continue with Al-Kareem, number 43, in the next session, inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.